thanks all y'all for coming and for having me here. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart, as well as a lot of my clients, and so I'm happy to share what I know with y'all. But this is basically a gentle guide to your treasures at home, and as well as any transitions if y'all are looking to transition or have recently transitioned in your life stage. Okay, let's try. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's start with that. Yeah, so the first thing is the what. And so we're going to start deep first, which is the emotional part, the heart of the matter. And so this is the feelings that we don't normally feel until we have it in front of us. We don't think about those things, and so all of a sudden it's right there. So the heart of the matter being the emotional side of fear of loss. And so these are all in terms of stuff, the things that we have in our home, in terms of materials and items. So the what of why do I have what I have in my home and why do I keep it? And so one of them is the fear of loss. So the fear of loss meaning there's somebody I associate this item with, and I can't lose that. So that fear of loss, if it's a photo album, if I don't have this photo album with me anymore, I might forget what that person looked like. If I don't have the recording of somebody I loved, I don't remember what they hear or their voices. The fear of loss being, hey, I never had this before, I have it now, and I don't think I'll ever be able to get it again. So if I lose that, say for example, if you've been through a hurricane or a fire, those are some items in the home that we can't get back sometimes. Another is just in case mindset. And so these are what I call delayed decisions, just in case. Oh, I got that because it reminded me of somebody. And so they might need it. Or hey, for example, I used to swim, right? And then I see a swimsuit on sale. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get that, even though I haven't swam in about 20 years. I might get back in the pool, right? Just in case items. Oh, this made me think of an event, especially, for example, a nonprofit. Oh, this reminds me they need it. I know they need it. So I'm just gonna keep this just in case because I've got it. And then I'll pass it on. And then the last one is sentimental value, meaning it has no value outside of yourself. It means something to you, whether it be a memory or things like that. That's one of those reasons. So here's a case study of one of my former clients. They had a lot of things happen through their lifetime, especially in a short time in their 50s. They were divorced. They had a loss of a job. They went through a cancer diagnosis. They are now cancer-free, but they also had a death in the family on the other side of the world. They did a cross-country move from the West Coast to here, and then they have kids who decide to stay with their other parent. And so all of this happened within a span of 5 to 10 years. And that's a lot to go through in a short amount of time. And so one of those things they had was paper management. They had what we call as a doom box. And so anytime mail came in, they just put it automatically in a box because they didn't want to see it. It could be a bill, it could have been a note, lawyers, things that she didn't and couldn't deal with at the moment. And so over time, the papers piled up and piled up and piled up. And so those are one of those things. And so here's the problems she went through. It's overwhelmed with great loss. And so again, great loss being a loved one, her job, her home, decision fatigue, decision paralysis. Fatigue meaning, hey, I'm very tired and I can't think anymore. Paralysis meaning I don't even know where to start and I can't start. And then trauma. So this again being any sort of past and then deeper things like that as well. So Here is the second part, the clutter conversation. So the why. Why do you have what you have? So one of those reasons can be volume over time equals emotional weight. So the longer we are here on Earth, the more time we have to experience trauma. And so, again, trauma can be anybody to any person. It can be something small. I mean, it can be something very deep and large. And so, the more things we have over time, um, and sometimes it can be sudden. So, if, for example, you were in a car accident, that's, I would consider a trauma. And so, in a short amount of time, you then accumulate a lot of things, right? Or it can be a long period of time. If you lived in a home for 50 plus years, you have accumulated those things for 50 plus years. So it's gradual. Another one, again, is sentimental versus market value. And so in this picture here, I have to the left-hand side are what I would call an antique pitcher and bowl. So these are from one of my past clients. They are in their 70s, and these are from their grandmother. And so these are from the late 1800s. And so sentimental being they reminded him of her. He doesn't use them. They're in his garage. They've been there for many decades. But it just reminded him of her. And so he has no market value on them. It's just the emotion side of it. But then if we are to look at the market value, there is a market value in terms of price. So right now they're going for about $50 to $200. Some people are selling from them for $20. And so that's the conversation sometimes you'll have to have when you look at your things. Is it sentimental or is it market? And is it worth getting money out of it or is it something else? And the last thing is, does anyone in the family want this? And so again, the things that we have in our home, it's our story. And there's no shame and judgment, right? In what we have. They're part of our story. But sometimes with those things, it's, hey, if you have kids, do my kids want it? If you got siblings, hey, I have something from our parents, do my siblings want it? Or somebody else. And those are some conversations you have to have. And sometimes it'll get hard when you have to transition quickly, make fast decisions and things like that. So who wants this? Yeah. And so here's another case study I have. They're in their 70s, they're married, they're a lifelong maker. They've been living in their home for over 30 years. They are empty nesters. They have family nearby, grandkids nearby, but it's just them in the home. They are outdoor adventurers. So they go out to the lake every weekend. They love going out. They love building, things like that. And they're still employed because they want to be. So they are still a maker, still a teacher, and things like that. And the picture in the background being, I thought this was really neat. One of my friends owns a winery, and they upcycled all the wine boxes for their bar. And so their problem is, as artists and makers, they say a value in most all things. When you have that creative mind, you see it, you're like, oh, I can turn that into something else. And so with that, you start to accumulate a lot of things. Also, supplies are expensive. They've always been expensive, right? And so once you get supplies, you keep them because you'll always use them, whether it be some sort of tool or paper or some sort of craft material. We can always reuse them. They don't make things like they used to, but they're still around. And then there's also the scarcity mindset. So a lot of artists and makers, they don't earn much. It's just, minimal. Teachers as well, they don't earn much as well. If you think about how many hours you put into grading papers or making art and you compare that with how much money you earn, it's not much. And so a lot of these, in this particular client, they grew up in an era where, there was not much. There's also, the Great Depression as well. And so all those things kind of add up into this financial burden. And so that's one of those reasons why they hang on to things. And so now it's here in an interactive little thing. Any of y'all brought any of your items, or if you didn't, that's okay. You can think of it as well. So basically, this is kind of a time I want you to think about an item that you're struggling to part with. So it can be something you have on today or something in your mind. And you can briefly share with the person next to you, or if you don't want to share, you can write it down as well. And some things to think about is, why is it hard to let go of that particular item? And what would make the decision easier? So I'll give y'all about maybe 5-10 minutes if y'all wanted to discuss, or if anybody, and then we can share for about 2 or 3 minutes afterwards. Yes, sir.
What occurs to me is that there are things that I like, that I have, that have been with me a large chunk of my life.
Hold it closer to your mouth.
And I don't see any reason to part with them. They stay with me as long as I'm alive, and at that point, I don't really care. So that the issue of what to do with all this stuff, to me, keep it, because I like it, and when I'm gone, anybody else wants it, fine. If not, that's fine too, because I'm not there anymore.
Yeah, that's great. That's a definite reason. Yeah. And if you've got the space for it and you like it and you love it, enjoy it. That's what I say. Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure. Anybody else?
Well, I can share that my son just
Oh.
moved into a new house.
Hold on, Carol.
Over here. I talk so loud, I don't need a mic. You get one anyway.
Okay, so my dear darling son just moved a couple of weeks ago, less than a mile away from me up on North Hills. It's really nice. He has 3 little kids. It's a very big house. They have a whole second floor. He has room for everything. And I still have a whole room of his junk, all his sports trophies. You know, let's see. He's close to 50, and I still have everything that he won when he was captain of the basketball team in high school, etc.
And that's common. That's very common.
So that's what I wanted. Does he want it?
He doesn't want it thrown out, but I'm not sure he wants it in his house.
And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about
He has
that.
a wife, and she happens to be a lieutenant colonel in the military. And she's very organized, and everything has a place in her house. And so he doesn't really want me to give him all the stuff that he's got in his house that I don't really need or want for even sentimental reasons. I can say one basketball poster of him, that would be fine.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that next. Yeah.
I've got tons of stuff at home, and a lot of time it's really easy just to leave it behind a closed door. Out of sight, out of mind, whatever. But it's also probably pretty easy to start going through it and seeing how many trash bins I can fill up. So that is actually on the calendar.
That's great. Does anybody on Zoom want to share?
Dina?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had a situation. I live in Austin. My mom lives in Houston, and she moved from a 3-bedroom townhouse to a 1 bedroom with a study apartment in an independent living, not a facility, it's completely independent. But anyway, I still had a lot of stuff at her townhouse. So, and my sister and brother-in-law were making her move very quickly. So I had to make a lot of very quick decisions. And you mentioned like the awards and recognition. I had some like framed awards, and my apartment is small, and so I had to make the decision, unfortunately, to just throw those away because I didn't have room for them. But it was very hard to do that. It was hard to throw some things away.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, and those feelings are very valid. I think, you know, when it comes to awards and recognition, a lot of us have had very successful lives, and it is what we relate with, right? When people say, "Hi, how are you? Who are you? And what do you do?" Right? That's the first question they ask after they find out what your name is. What do you do? And so a lot of people have built the career up to the top, and they're very proud of it, and they're pretty awesome, I have to say. And so, especially when people retire or they've moved on to the next generation or career, it's hard to let go of those things that you're proud of, that I'm proud of them for. And so I give you all the credit for making those hard decisions, and those feelings again are very valid. And so kudos to you.
And everyone in the chat, if you do want to just come off mic and say something, please go ahead. Also, I'm going to be monitoring the chat, so just let me know, and
Yeah,
we can go that way.
Perfect. Yes. And so again, why I put down some other reasons why it may be hard to let go of items. It's the original monetary cost. So if again, I had a client who, when they first got married, maybe 50 or 60 years ago, her husband bought her a ceiling to floor mirror. And those things were very expensive back in the day, and they still are now. And she cherished it. And it was very beautiful. But those are some monetary things where it was kind of like a honeymoon marriage cost. And so another thing is memories. Heirlooms. Another thing is heirlooms. Sometimes we have heirlooms passed down from generations. It means absolutely nothing to us. But we're like, hey, if I have it and I let it go, my parents are going to be mad at me, but my parents have passed a long time ago. So those are some thoughts we sometimes have. Again, awards and recognitions. And the other side, what would make the decision easier? So sometimes we let kids take care of it. And so those are some options. So if the decision is too hard for us to make, but we're like, hey, we're okay with letting it go. I just don't want to know what happens after it leaves my house. So you can let your kids take care of it. Another is you can bring in professionals like myself or other people. Time for bereavement. So if somebody has passed, a spouse, a loved one, etc., sometimes time helps. And then setting a calendar date goal. So in your case, Henry, maybe set a calendar date. It doesn't have to be set in stone, but it helps to have some sort of visual. So those are some suggestions. And so here are some case studies. Again, these are from 4 separate clients, past clients I've had in the past. One of them is to start early. So, and y'all are currently, many of people are currently in a situation where they enjoy where they are at. They have no plan to move. They're still doing great. Arnie, you're awesome. And so kind of give yourself a 5-year plan though. In 5 years, how do I want my house to be? And it won't be so overwhelming. So you can tackle things room by room. It doesn't have to be room by room. It can be space by space or area by area, like a counter. Just start small. Another thing is ask your adult children if they want their things. So in your case, Carol, I would encourage you to allow your son to make that decision and give him a deadline. Hey, you have until Christmas or you have until the new year. And then the conversation with his wife is a very popular one, right? But that's the conversation he'll have to have as his wife to respect his things.
I know that we have some sort of a storage space somewhere.
Okay.
He has an uncle who passed away.
Uh-huh.
Who was a collector of
Okay.
books and had a library.
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
I'm hoping that he'll give all this stuff to the library. That they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
know where he lives.
Yeah. So what Carol was saying was her son has a storage unit with his uncle's things, with lots of books and other things. So yeah, that could definitely be an idea to where, because then you won't need to have it anymore. And so those are one of those things too. It's very popular where kids are still keeping stuff at their parents' place because a lot of kids these days are moving every year or every 6 months, just depending on rent, etc. And y'all are the foundations, right? Y'all have been in the same home forever. I have some people I know, their social security card, their passport, their birth certificates, all that are still in their parents' home, even though they're well into adulthood. Another thing is you can upsize. So I have some clients, they have upsized, meaning they have gone into a larger home. They bought a larger home, they have taken everything out of storage units, and now they're able to display and decorate their home with all the things they've had in their storage units. And so that's an option if you would like to have that. Another option is to downsize. And so this is the more popular one. And this is where you have to be intentional and aggressive and decisive if you have to go make fast decisions in a short amount of time. But when you downsize, I do encourage, if you are able to know the layout and the square footage of the new home before letting go of items that you don't want to let go of. And so I've had some clients in the past when they realized, oh, I had space for that couch that I let go of, and I didn't want to let go of that house or that couch. So that's something to think about. And again, set deadlines and achievable goals. I think, if you give yourself quarterly deadlines or yearly deadlines, that will help kind of see the end more realistically. And then,
Before you move forward to the
yes,
next one, Dina's wondering if you could go back to the slide previously.
of course.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Maybe the back arrow.
Yeah, I tried.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dina, do you have a question?
He said it's okay now.
Okay. Yes.
No,
yeah.
it's okay. Yeah, that was the
Okay.
slide I wanted to be on. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes. And then last thing is aging in place. And so this is where if you're in a situation, hey, everything's fine. But there's some things to think about. One thing is you can rearrange layouts for your new life stage. So you can move the couch 90 degrees, move it against the wall, move it to the other side of the wall. If you have a dresser, hey, I'm going to move that dresser from my living room to my bedroom. Or I'm going to move a bookshelf and turn it on its side, and it's going to be now a TV stand, and things like that. So just change it up a little bit. You don't have to go out and buy anything. You've got it already, but you just want a different outlook, different layout, different when you come out of your house or your bedroom, something new to look at. Declutter items that are no longer in use. So if you're an accountant, if you have a lot of calculators, I know there are some collectibles out there, but there are calculators out there you might not need, things like that. Give unused items a new purpose. So a popular one is upcycling old things into home decor. I've got some shells at home I have repurposed into ornaments. So, and then create special occasions to use items. So for women, this is a popular one when it comes to our clothes. When was the last time I wore that dress that I'll never wear again? So I used to work in a place where I dressed up every day. And then I moved jobs into a warehouse where I didn't wear anything nice every day. So I made it a point to wear something nice every Friday. So then I could just go through my closet. And if I didn't like anything anymore, then I let it go and I passed it on. And then you can also name when you use the items. Another popular item are candles. How many candles do y'all have at home? Yeah, so name when are you going to use that candle. Hey, I'm going to use it during dinner time. I'm going to use it when I wake up in the morning. Hey, I'm going to use it Saturday mornings, and things like that. So when you name and give it a purpose and give it kind of like a point in your calendar, that will help you use the items you have in your home. And so now moving forward, the how, things to think about again. So logistics, what is my roadmap now? And sometimes it can be a long-term roadmap. Hey, I don't really have any plans right now, but I've got what I want. I know what I want. Everything's cool. But what is my plan for if I were to pass? Or if you are moving, or if you are transitioning, or you have family transitioning, that's a roadmap to write down. What are some local resources? What type of help do I need? Say, for example, if you have history in town. So if you are an Austinite, you're many generations into an Austinite, but you have so many histories that you're like, I don't know what to do with all this. You can definitely go into the Austin History Museum. That is something you can maybe ask if, hey, would you be interested in my family's story? If you are somebody who worked for the government, there is the Texas Literacy and an Archives Commission, I believe is what it's called. And they'll take your items for their museum and their archives if it has anything to do with the government. There are nonprofits in town. Austin is the best city for nonprofits, and they are very much loved, and it's all about community. So a great one if you're a crafter is Austin Creative Reuse. It's on the east side of town. They'll take all of your art supplies, your office supplies, things like that, and it goes back out into the community at a very affordable price. And then if you've got a lot of books, a great organization is Inside Books Project. They are a nonprofit that mails books to inmates in Texas prisons, which I think is really awesome because these days, inmates are no longer allowed to receive any outside communication. Yes.
Dina started using Buy Nothing Group.
That's perfect. Buy Nothing groups are perfect. Yes. And if people don't want any of your items through Buy Nothing, another great one to use is Free Cycle. So Buy Nothing is in your neighborhood and Free Cycle is within the Austin city as well. So yeah. So those are the easier ones where you're like, hey, come get it. If you have a lot of things, you're like, hey, I have a whole closet of clothes or a whole closet of shoes or hats, or I have large furniture that I'm no longer in need of. There are thrift stores that can come by with a van and they'll take it for free. And so those are some easier options for like, I just want them gone. So you don't have to be as micro. So some of them are, one of them is Goodwill. I know some people in town have controversial opinions about Goodwill, but they're still very legit. All their money goes into helping people find jobs and get jobs. And so I'm a proud supporter of that. And then there's also Hope Family Thrift Store. They also have vans come by and all their things go towards the Austin Disaster Relief Network, some of their profits. And then we can also talk about some other thrift stores as well. Yes.
Dina mentioned Recycled Reads on Burnett Road.
Yes, Recycled Reads is another great place for books. Yeah. One I do probably would steer clear from is, or call and ask before our libraries, the public libraries, because they're only allowed to accept certain books in circulation. But I know they have some shops and things. And maybe you might want to call different libraries. So the library up in Gerald recently opened a few years ago, and they love more books. I don't know what there are now, but you can go call Round Rock. I know Cedar Park just opened a beautiful brand new library. And so we've got a lot of resources in town and things like that. But one of those things you can look into is Amplify Austin. The nonprofits on Amplify Austin website, they do have to pay to be on the website. So not all nonprofits are on there, but I like it as kind of like a litmus test. The people who are on that are legit and they can pay to be on the website. So they're very much suggested and recommended. Some others are respectable and sustainable disposal. So I'm somebody who is in the green world of circular economy. I want to keep things out of the landfill as much as I can. So how can I be sure my items will go and be disposed responsibly? So I am a quilter. I love quilting. I have a lot of fabric, maybe too much fabric, but for the fabric that I don't use, I want it to go to somebody who will treasure it. And so those are some things that you can think about. Who can I give this to? Is there a guild? If I have a lot of scraps, what can I do with the scraps? Is there a recycling center or a textile recycling center that can take those things? And then affordability. Is it cheaper to think about it, or is it cheaper to call in the professionals? And so those are some things to think about as well. So here is a quote from Greg Cohen. He is the owner of Lofty Pursuits. He is a candy maker. He is an inventor. He loves learning about the history of making candy. And so I just thought this was a neat quote. People seem to forget that history isn't that far away, and the future isn't either. And we're just sort of here in the middle, being caretaker for what's around us. And so I love that quote. So yeah, that's the end. If you have any questions, please let me know.